Hey folks, welcome to the Great Alaskan Build here. I'm in my shop, Randy Henry here in Silverton, Oregon. It's a surprisingly sunny day so far in the midst of a whole lot of rain. Our little atmospheric rivers. Fortunately, we're not in the middle of this, but hearts out to folks in California who are dealing with that. But I have been doing just so many odds and ends on the boat. It's I don't know, something doesn't lend itself well to a video, but I'll try to do some catch up here. So first we'll talk about the black water tank, which is white. I did that on purpose. So if you watch previous videos, you know that I'm building my own black water tank. I have pretty much got it done. I am now putting in the sensors because I want to know, this is the one thing that's going to be closed off, sealed up, and I won't be able to see it. So I'm putting sensors in, and these are the same things you'd see in an RV tank. These are for black water waste, so they have little covers over the sensors. And once I got this all done, it's kind of like putting through holes in your boat. You hate to make a nice waterproof tank and then punch holes in it, but so goes it. Drilled these out to 3/8 of an inch, epoxied the inside, smoothed it out a little bit, put these in, snug up the gasket, and they're sealed. And then it will go to, it'll feed this on the counter somewhere in the boat, so I can press a button and see what the black water looks like. I'm not going to do sensors for the gray water or the fresh water, but you know, it'll tell me how the batteries are. The top to this thing is totally done too. I added some epoxy to seal off the blind nuts, which I have mounted on the backside. 4 screws, plus I'll put sealant around there. The 4200 stuff that you can kind of heat up and cut out so I can get back in there if I have to. And all of my other fittings are there, and I've got enough pieces to get it generally plumbed. So this piece here was just a dummy I built out of scrap plywood. This is going to be the toilet stand, I guess. Gives it 5 inches of height and a little bit of room underneath it to do the connection bolts. I built this up, kind of cut it to fit, made sure it was right. Then I built the real one. This is out of marine plywood. A little bit better joinery, obviously. Everything's glued in, so I'll get another coat of epoxy. And then on the top, I went ahead and glassed it with some 10 ounce. It'll get another coat of fiberglass resin on top of that to smooth it up. And the one thing that I did, and I'll take the bolts out here soon, is it occurred to me that if I'm also using it as a wet head, I'm going to have a shower pan. So this will be the front facing forward into the area that can also double as a shower. I didn't want water going under this because I'll have a shower pan that butts up against this and covers the floor. Occurred to me at the last minute that I should have a little bit of an overhang here as a drip shelf, just to help keep water from going underneath the area. If it does, it just goes into the bilge and down, but I want to capture the water into the gray water. So this is very solid. I think it'll work fine. Yeah, so the boat's a total disaster right now. I kind of hate to put it on film here because, so I admire builders who can do a lot of planning and everything committed to a CAD drawing somewhere, and they can build it from the ground up and know that things are going to fit perfectly, and I can't do that. Or at least I'm not comfortable doing that. So I knew going into this that I would be doing a little bit of back and forth. So I had the floors down, everything measured, cut a lot of the furniture and all that, but I didn't have the floors glued down, and in this point I think a lot of people would. So be it. Parts of the floors are glued down that need to be, but I pulled up most of them, so I can do this. So as you can see, I've got the bathroom wall out here, I've got the forward floors picked up, and this is the chaos going on beneath. So over here, I've got my toilet coming, that's the sump there. I opened that up because I'm running some plumbing from, those are going to be my gray water tanks. It's my fresh water tank on the side. Gas tank's exposed, that'll be covered up. So I just need to get my head around how the pumps were going to work, and it is complicated. I've definitely made this more complicated than I think most people would want to. I'm going to have a pump placed here with the accumulator on it to provide constant pressure. I'll have water flow from the freshwater tank across to the pump and then up to the sink and the hot water heater and the shower unit. So getting that plumbing figured out. On the other side, I will place a pump. You can kind of see it poking out there. That's for the gray water removal. I know gray water can generally go overboard, but not always. And if I can capture it, why not? It's one less thing to dump overboard. And in some areas, there are restrictions on gray water dumping. So I'll have the capacity to pump to store 30 gallons of gray water, and then I can pump it out or suck it out, depending on where I am. That'll be good. So I'm gonna be running vent lines and fill tubes. Back here is gonna be the black water, so I'm gonna install that tank today and get that kind of plumbed in. Once that's done, then I can come back in and install flooring. I'll have hatches cut out here, so I'll show that in the future. The other thing that I've got is, you'll notice I've got a blower there. I should have placed this differently, but that's where it is. That's gonna go here in this little compartment. I've got doublers on either side of the stringer to strengthen where I put the hole there. That'll blow up, come up, and that'll vent out of here, or that'll actually bring air in through here, in here, and then blow it through the gas compartment to keep any fumes out of the boat and help keep that area dry. So that's what that looks like. I know I had a comment, a concern about my gas lines for the forward tank coming up here. I am going to address that today. I will draw up plans and either push that to the back, or I'm going to build a false bulkhead enough to cover that, and I'll seal it off and then vent it with a few holes back here so it's not exposed to the cabin. Hopefully that'll work. If it doesn't, I'll move it. Yeah, so that's it. Things are a mess, but I'm making progress. I can't wait to get the floors back down and get some of the furniture back in. Here's one more thing I've done. It's hard to see, but I'm excited about this. I have added what's going to be a large 12-inch wide cabinet across the back of the boat. The downside of doing that is it keeps me that much farther from the back when you're hauling in a fish, but it's not a big deal. There's still plenty of room back here to move around and reach for things. But it's going to allow me to build some custom cabinetry for flip out, fold down tackle storage. I'm stealing some great designs I've seen out there online, and I think it's going to be really nice. And here's another great thing I got. I've been bargain hunting through this whole thing. I don't want to put junk in the boat, but I also can't afford to go brand new high-end on everything. It just isn't going to work. But I did find this Force 10 2-burner stove, very, very lightly used on Craigslist at a fraction of the cost of a new unit. I'm in the stage now where I'm nickel and diming myself to death, so to be able to get that for the money I did, it saves a whole bunch of money, gives me room on some other things, and that'll go in the galley. Meanwhile, the stockpile of things has grown. I've got so much stuff I am ready to install. I've got my inverter, I've got my radar, my Garmin radar multifunction scanner unit in there, multifunction engine gauge, I got LEDs, I've got my bounce thruster stuff. I've got 4, count them, 4 100 amp hour lithium iron, or lithium, whatever it is, lithium batteries to provide the house power. Some comments out there talked me into doing a little better analysis and getting those together. I've got my hydronic heating system here in a box. That will be getting roughly installed soon. Yeah, this is the phase where every little installation takes a day, and there's 50 installations there. So got my work cut out for me. Yeah, the hydronic system is something I'll address in the future. Shout out to Gary Allen. He, up there in Olympia, he's building a great Alaskan also. It looks really good. And he talked me into it. It was such a great idea. And then he just told me he decided to switch away from it because for various reasons. So it's a cool option. It adds complexity, and I get when you're building simplicity, is a big deal when you're out in the sticks doing your thing. My goal is to get this thing operable in April. I know I've made that proclamation in the past and was way off. But this time the boat's built, things are in place, and now it's groundwork and detail work that I think is coming along. I hope so. It's a lot of fun, but it's time to move on to other things. Have a great day.